riding this wave of memes support. There's, of course, the coconut tree trend, the brat trend. There is now hundreds of thousands who follow the Swifties for Kamala. The question, really, the biggest question is, will all of this popularity among young voters translate to them actually going out to the ballot boxes in November? Now back to the Democratic National Convention. Politicians aren't the only speakers at the DNC. In fact, in a rare move, one of the growing groups of voters that the DNC is focusing on is Gen Z. And in fact, more than 200 content creators have been issued credentials in Chicago, giving them access to interviews with VIPs and studio space as well, luring the nearly 40 million Gen Z voters who are eligible to vote in November, hopefully, as far as Democrats are concerned, to get out to the polls and vote for Democrats. Rachel Janfaza is a Gen Z and pop culture journalist. She joins us now from the convention with more on this. Great to see you, Rachel. And I want to start with this, because we understand 5 of these credentialed social media creators are expected to speak this week. So really, what is the Democratic strategy in inviting them to speak on this gigantic platform?
Thank you so much, Annika, for having me. It's great to be here. So, the strategy with inviting these creators to the convention, credentialing them, giving them this access, and having them speak from the very same podium that former presidents, the current president spoke from last night, and soon Vice President Kamala Harris will speak from, is to give an authentic messenger, to have young people who are constantly scrolling through their phones. They may not follow some of the more traditional politicians online, but they do follow these content creators. And so to be able to see the convention through that lens, there's a blue carpet where the creators can do interviews with attendees and with politicians. It very much is in the zeitgeist, and they're capitalizing on that this week for sure.
Let's listen to one of them, Deja Fox. She's an influencer, and she actually spoke last night at the convention. Here's part of what she had to say, Rachel.
She'll deliver a future where we can decide if and when to start a family. A future where we can afford rent and groceries. A future where we're not crushed under student debt. A future where any free lunch kid can walk through the gates of their dream college.
Rachel, talk about some of the themes that young voters are listening for this week.
So Deja touched on many of them. Life affordability, cost of housing and rent. Those economic issues are of top concern for young voters. And I think oftentimes that gets overlooked when you're thinking about some of the more social issues that young people are typically marching in the streets or posting online about. And those matter too, whether it's reproductive health care access, which was also frontal in last night's messaging, or climate change or gun safety. These are things that all matter to young people, but they really are looking on the day-to-day to know what presidential candidate is going to be an advocate for them, for their future. And that future forward messaging has been a main focus point this week.
We've talked about this special lounge area for them reserved on the press floor, special access on the blue carpet. You were talking about this reserved area on the floor of the convention. What is the party hoping for in return for offering these perks up to these content creators?
I think that they're looking for the content creators to be full throttle in talking about the election, electoral issues with their audiences. A lot of these creators who are here have a more political bent, or they're activists, so it's not too strange for them to be talking about politics. But I think that in giving these creators this access, they are looking for the creators to then bring an authentic message to their audiences. Young people, quantitative data shows, and I've heard this in the listening sessions I conduct with young people across the country too, that young people aren't so trusting of the governmental institutions or politicians, but they do trust the people who they follow. They've bought into following these people online, they've opted into that, and so hearing these messages coming from these authentic messengers in a way that is more organic, I think that is something that they're hoping, the Democratic Party is hoping the creators will do in return for having the access they've been granted this week.
And just very quickly, in our final few seconds here, I mean, Harris has really been riding this wave of memes support. There's, of course, the coconut tree trend, the brat trend. There is now hundreds of thousands who follow the Swifties for Kamala. The question, really, the biggest question is, will all of this popularity among young voters translate to them actually going out to the ballot boxes in November?
Yeah, it's a great question, Annika. And I think, there's not one single thing that's going to be the difference maker in whether or not young people go out to the polls. But seeing all this energy online when they're scrolling through their feeds, when they're, even here at the convention, there's been brat memes and buttons, and I saw a coconut tree in one of the other official areas. And so having more excitement, it can't hurt. I don't think that a young person is going to say, I'm going to go vote because I saw a specific TikTok. But having that on their feeds can boost the adrenaline around the election. And when it comes to November, it will be more top of mind.
Journalist Rachel Janfaza, as always, thanks so much. Great to see you. And stay with us. Still ahead on the Rush Hour, Mayor Adams addresses the latest round of subpoenas that were served to him. Find out what he said. And later, a special perk for young theater fans is back. How kids can see Broadway shows for free. Today only, when we return.
Thank you for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage, and click the subscribe button right here. You can also download our app or watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.